Namaste and welcome to Urban Chatterati. This is Abhinav Prakash. And today I'm joined by Ms. Sahana Singh, who is an author, commentator on the Indian civilization, Indian history, and Indian cultural heritage based out of United States of America. Sahana ji, namaskar.
Namaste.
Uh, Sahana ji, you have been expressing concerns about the mental health of Rashmi Samant, who has been hounded by some ultra radical groups at the Oxford University campus. And she was in the hospital because of high stress and BP. What is the current status as of now, in case you know about it?
Yeah, actually, I have been talking to her. So what happened is just to go in the sequence. So when the news of Rashmi Samant broke, the first thing that came to my mind is that I have a daughter of the same age. And I imagine it was my daughter who is there in Oxford and going through all this. I first tried to find out if she had actually said anything racist, and then when I saw the post, there was absolutely nothing. And then I could make out that there is a set of people who are out to, maybe they are jealous of her because they wanted to be in that position, which is the first time that an Indian woman was in that position. So it looks like she had some haters because they went and deliberately reframed all her posts to make it look malicious, to make it look racist, when actually there was nothing like that. So that's when I started getting concerned, and I wanted to reach out to her. Somehow managed to make contact with her, and I'm not a mental health expert. I'm just a mother, and I can totally see that this girl was trying to retain her sanity because she was completely bewildered. I mean, she couldn't understand why are they targeting me. I didn't say anything which was offensive. I told them that I meant no harm. Then why are they coming after me? So and I was very worried about her because she's just 22 years old and comes from a small town, and she's gone there to study. She's worked very hard to get admission into Oxford. So I could completely visualize what she was going through, because within moments of her announcement, as she said, the announcement of her victory in the elections, she started getting those hate messages. And they have attacked her on everything. They have attacked her on her being this thing, what is that, anti-Semitic, being racist, being an Asian hater, being a publicity hungry, Hindutva. I don't know, whatever they can find. They even saw her wearing the long skirt, which we call langa in Kannada, and they attacked her for being a Brahmin. That also was there. And on top of this, there is this Professor Abhijit Sarkar who is just mocking her because she belongs to Karnataka, and then he's calling coastal Karnataka as Islamophobic. He's
Yeah.
targeting her parents, he's stalking her. And all this time, this Oxford University is silent. So the main thing for me was that from her, not even once I heard anything mean, anything where she was saying that her haters are bad people. She didn't use any bad words. And all she's saying is, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't know why they are saying this to me. So she was literally fighting with her back to the wall. I mean, she has never seen this kind of aggressive bullying. And for me, my heart was just breaking for her. So, that's the reason I kept trying to call her every day to know how she was. So first thing is, she was not eating well. I kept on asking her, "Are you eating well?" And I could see that she was not eating well. She looked so, you can make out from her face, and she has lost all her appetite. And I had a feeling that she's going to be landing up in hospital soon. I kept telling her, eat, sleep. She was not sleeping because I would see her awake talking to media channels because they want to know what happened. Now, I don't blame her for that because, she has been so badly attacked that she wants to tell her side of the story. She wants to explain what happened and everything. So that's the reason she was talking to media channels. Now her haters turned that around and made it seem like she's pretending to be a victim. She's trying to win the affection of the BJP and the fascist people. She's impressing her Hindutva bosses, and the more she's getting attacked, the more she was going down. And I was doing my best to comfort her. And then eventually, I mean, it was just shocking, right? When I got the news that she's in the hospital, her parameters had gone low, and in fact, she had high fever and she was delirious. So, I mean, imagine this, what her parents are also going through right now. I mean, her parents also probably are going through all this, not sleeping, worrying about her. And, I wish I could, as a mother, I want to cover her with so much love that, her goodness stays intact. Our children are, I know the way I have raised my daughter. I imagine if she's bullied like this, I want to protect her. And the university should be protecting her, the professors should be protecting her. But look, what kind of a brutal, savage environment she has gone to. I mean, rather, Oxford environment has become that. They didn't censure the students. They didn't. They haven't told Abhijit Sarkar to remove those hateful posts that he has made. So and this is emboldening the haters. The longer that Oxford is keeping quiet, the more the haters are sending her anonymous messages. Then all those friends of hers who are on Facebook, they have all bought into. Many of them have bought into the theory that she was racist and all that stuff, and she's playing victim. And so they were all attacking her. So she had to deactivate her Facebook account, for even her Twitter account. For some time she was off Twitter. Then then Twitter themselves removed her post. So she's suffering a lot. It's just so distressing that this university has done this to a bright child. She has so much potential to do good for the society. Very, very gifted, very articulate. So I'm just very worried about her. Right now, of course, she's out of the hospital, and she's having a little higher food intake. But in terms of sleep and all that, I don't see much improvement. So I'm really worried about her.
So basically, what we are seeing here is a deliberate targeting of a girl, hounding her, mentally harassing her, and potentially forcing her to extreme steps.
Yes.
This is a clear-cut criminal conduct by those groups in the Oxford, by those students, by the faculty. Who is responsible for this thing? Because you've seen that 3 shameless societies of the Oxford University, something called South Asian Group, or one was Oxford India Society, and something called Oxford Hindu Society. I don't know what kind of Hindu society they were, but they have also come out and they have done a deliberate character assassination when she was in the hospital. So they have done a deliberate character assassination. They have tried to paint her in bad picture, and they have justified those attacks on her, racist comments against her, hounding, bullying, and then in the end they have simply said that, well, they've thrown this entire word called Hindutva as if that justifies everything. Yes. So basically, any expression of Hinduness or Hinduism has become synonymous with Hindutva. So you can go after the people in whatever way you can. But who is responsible in the end for this criminality?
I think actually there has to be a full investigation into this. I mean, the university should conduct an investigation to find out who were the people who targeted her, who were so upset about her becoming the president that they started going and looking at her earlier tweets, because it's very clear she has never been racist in anything she uttered during her campaign, right? Yeah. And so right from her the first post she made after winning, where she's thanking everybody, some people are trying to analyze every word to see whether they can somehow interpret it in an offensive way and target her for that, right? So they caught her on something where she said she wants to include the trans women. They made a big issue out of that, when you can clearly see that kind of expression is being used by so many people, right? Even big celebrities have used that. Then they try to, so it's like as if there was a group of people, and we need to find out who they are. The university must investigate, because they went after her to find out something where they can malign her, and then they just spread it out. They just made it explode, right? And then look at what it's as if it's not just a student. Then this professor joins in, this Abhijit Sarkar, and then when you go and see what he is writing, those are clearly malicious and hate posts, where he is talking about breaking Saraswati idols. Oh, just because, and he's maligning a whole state of Karnataka. Yeah. By the way, I also belong to Karnataka. It's very insulting for me, because that region where she comes from is a center of learning. You associate that with saints and rishis, with excellent colleges which used to impart learning, the knowledge of Vedas, all that. And he's associating that with hate, the whole imagery that he's creating. And this professor is just happily, he's not removing his post. He's not ashamed, right? And then you go, I believe even after that, he kept on writing some more. So, I mean, and Oxford not saying anything. Oxford could have stepped in right there if they really wanted. If they really feel responsible towards the students, then they should immediately say that, look, this is an inclusive atmosphere, and we are doing an investigation. Until then, do not say anything. They could have done that. Or they could have straight away looked at the professors. His posts are there. You don't even need to investigate. You can straight away see that this guy is full of hate for everything India, actually. And you can immediately tell him, and instead of that, he is getting grants. He's getting, published, announcing his book that he's going to publish and everything. The way the students, Rashmi literally had to go away from there, right? And some people were saying, oh, why did she not stay back and fight? I mean, do they even know the mind of a 22-year-old girl? I mean, she's shattered. So even now, I mean, I'm just full of admiration that she's actually able to say something in front of the camera, because when I talk to her separately, I can see the that she's broken. She's really hurt. I mean, because I'm not a mental health expert. I hope some measures will be taken to comfort her, to reassure her. But the real assurance will come if the university takes steps, if the professor is removed, and then there is a statement made that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated. And we students come here to study, to learn, to get knowledge, right? I mean, think of us parents. We raise our children hoping that they will get a good education, they'll make a mark in life. So when they go, we want them to get education. We want them to make good friends, come back with great memories from there, learn how to talk properly, be civilized. Instead, if they come back as damaged goods, they are completely broken from inside. They're abused, or maybe I mean, there are some will become abusers also, because the universities now become so toxic. Many of Oxford University, I didn't know this was the extent of toxicity in Oxford. I've seen it happening in other universities. So, but now that I'm digging, I'm finding it has actually been that from quite some time. And then, so there is no support system for a student.
Basically, what about the legal liability of these three unions who have issued a statement basically denouncing her and justifying bullying?
I am very sure that I'm not in charge of the legal aspect of this. I know that there are some friends who are pursuing this, but definitely they have done no service to this young student who is quite blameless
They're
and
part
even
of a lynch
independently.
mob. They are part
It's a
of a lynch
lynch. I
mob, and
mean,
they must be
they
punished, in my
cried.
opinion.
Absolutely, because
At
you see,
least, at least we can file. At least we can file legal cases against if they are Indian students out there, and the Indians involved in those kind of hounding. We can at least file a case in India against those people.
So the legal aspect, I'm not very clear what you can do in India, but definitely in London, I know she has filed a complaint, and I know there are other people who are pursuing the legal aspect, right? But it is very evident that these societies, right? They are kind of they are deciding what is right and what is wrong. They have made some definition of what is liberal and what is what is good, and then whatever they say, they're making it seem like that is right. Anybody else who doesn't exactly say what they want to hear, that person is wrong. So I mean, it is shocking because I mean, what are universities? Universities are where you have a free exchange of thoughts and you debate on various things, right? We all came out from university knowing a lot more about different communities when we met people from different states. We learned, all that. So for them, it looks like diversity is just a word. Just have some women, just have some people of different races. That is diversity. That's not diversity. Diversity is being able to actually accommodate different points of view, and then to have a logical way of proceeding. I mean, how can you just label somebody by vindictively without analyzing what was said, what was wrong with it? Nothing. Just label and then attack, lynch mob.
It's fine if some societies think that they are right and others are wrong, but what they can't do is defamation, what they can't do is bullying, what they can't do is hounding, and a line must be drawn. And especially the South Asian groups, which are explicitly anti-India groups these days, I have not seen any South Asian group which has spoken anything good about India. They're always hostile towards India, and especially hostile towards the Hindus. But let me ask you, what the steps being taken for her safety now? Because it seems that Oxford has become very unsafe for her, and in fact, for most of the Indian students, because of this toxic environment which has been created in the Western universities. Are they safe for the Indian students anymore?
So I think, I mean, I wouldn't be very safe. I feel very good if I had to send another child of mine to university. I wouldn't feel safe, because then, there is always this fear, especially if she's shining in something, maybe she speaks well, or maybe she has leadership qualities. I feel that if this is the kind of atmosphere, there will be people looking to bring down such people, right? So what steps are going to be taken, I don't know. But what we need to push for is that every student should be able to shine in university, whatever are their skills. That is what they go for. They should be able to feel safe there. So here what is happening is there is some kind, the politicization is to such an extent that they are associating now Hinduism itself with negativity for no rhyme or reason. Modi, everything, now they connect it with, okay, Modi Bhakt, that kind of thing, right? We are seeing that in social media. So even we adults are finding it hard to face all this hate, and now it has gone to these students also, these children. So I mean, the steps should be. I mean, there has to be a lot of discussion now. I think it's also part of the problem lies with the social sciences departments,
Hmm.
because all this, when it was just pure sciences, or it was not to this extent. The toxicity was not like this. The viciousness was not like this. So
Yeah.
the way we also need to have a bigger debate on how social sciences are being taught, the kind of lenses that they are using, the conflict lenses, right? It comes right from those times, the colonialist, missionary, the leftist lenses. So they are looking at everything through conflict. Okay, if they examine gender, it is through conflict. Okay, conflict between men and women. Oh, conflict between upper class and lower class, conflict between this and that. So everything, if you approach from a conflict lenses, then the only thing you want to see is conflict, right? So I think that also is a bigger aspect to be studied. One is, of course, the what is visible in the surface, but also how are these social sciences being taught? Maybe we need a bigger discussion on that also.
Exactly. So we have seen the same case in the America and the Rutgers University, where this professor of Indian history, Audrey,
Audrey
she has
Fresco,
been openly abusing Hindu gods and goddesses, openly
yes,
abusing Hindus,
yeah,
justifying the mass murders of Hindus. And
yes,
when the Hindu students of her university basically spoke against it, that you are abusing our gods and goddesses, you are using outright false references, and you are using foul language. The only responsible, these Hindu students, they are fascists, they are Nazis, they are killing Muslims in India. I mean, what kind of discourse is that, and how it is tolerated? Because this kind of labeling, this kind of hounding, this kind of dismissal of people's concern will never be done to any other community. So is there something wrong with the Hindus themselves, that they put up with all these things? Perhaps you have
yeah.
not filed enough legal cases.
Yeah, maybe we have been too maybe very law-abiding, very peaceful people, that we have allowed things to come to such a pass, because we are the kind of people, we are very non-confrontationists. So many of us are fixated on our goals. Like when we send our children to college, we say just focus on your studies, don't get involved in other things, right?
Yeah.
So that's how they go, right? Don't get into trouble, just study and get good grades. That's all we tell them, right? So we have allowed the whole discourse to descend to this point, that where now they associate Hinduism with all these negative things, which is totally not cannot be substantiated. There is no evidence of what they're saying, what they're associating with Hinduism. So all the good parts of Hinduism, the yoga, the philosophies, the meditation, the mindfulness, the science, all that is taken out of Hinduism, and the only thing that is left in Hinduism is this caste system, and then this oppression, and sati and those kind of things. So anyway, let's not go
Yeah.
into history. That's in my book. But what I'm saying is, this is the narrative that has been adopted lock, stock, and barrel by most of the social sciences, the academicians. And so this is being the Hindus are being taught to hate themselves. So that's why many of them are very apologetic also when they go. They don't. So it's only now that people are, as they're going back to their own history, and they are realizing that so many wrong things have been written about them, and they are fighting back. But even if you don't go into history, just talk about uh, the kind of posts that these professors are making. Like, you don't even need to talk about history. If how can they insult the followers of an ancient religion, calling Rama a misogynist pig and all that, which you saw in the case of Rutgers, right? So clearly, Hindu hate is being normalized. The hate for Hindus is being normalized. Hindu phobia has become normal, even though nobody has done a study. So I think what we Hindus probably need to do is to study Hindu phobia. We need to have more definitive discourses, more writing on what is Hindu phobia, and make a strong case for it, just like it has been done for Islamophobia.
Hmm.
The Muslims have done that very well. Of course, they got funded for it.
Muslims have
We are
done a
not.
great job. Yeah, Muslims
Yeah.
have basically reversed the gaze on the West,
Yes. Yes.
and they have been doing it for the last 30, 40 years. If you look at the literature they have produced,
Hmm.
they have basically deconstructed the Western modernity itself. And
Hmm.
Hindus have never posed a challenge. They wanted to become good citizens of the West, and now they are
Hmm.
being hounded, bullied in all the Western university campuses, and even in the
Hmm.
academia and media all over the place.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that Oxford, steps up and stops this bullying, this whole hate vicious campaign, and then then that'll be a good example. And we can say that, okay, this is because we don't want. I mean, we want to respect Oxford. We don't have anything against them. Yes, they colonized us, but we also have collaborated with them. right? And that's why our students are still going to study there. But this is not the kind of atmosphere that should be given to them. And the Hindu students of Oxford also should take a step back and look at themselves. What are they doing? What are they supporting? Huh? They are not clamoring for the removal of this professor who has said such wild things that it's just right there in your face. They're not saying anything about that, and they're going after this young girl who is with dreams in her full of dreams that she's going to study, be a contributing member to society, and everything she's done. If you see her whole background, such a wonderful girl, and this is what we are reducing her to. I mean, this is just pathetic. What has happened to her?
Mhm. So, does she has plans to go back to Oxford as of now? To
Well, I am
continue her
hoping
study?
right now, of course, I'm not speaking on all those things because she's so stressed right now.
Hmm.
I really want her to recover her health first, physical and mental health. She needs to start eating properly. She needs to sleep. And when all that happens, then start thinking of going back. So that's what I'm hoping that she will go back, and she should go back. I mean, Oxford should be welcoming her there.
Hmm.
They should be telling her, "We are there. Please do not be afraid of coming back. We'll take care of everything. We are there for you." So this is we teach our children to regard the professors and teachers as their parents. Do you know that? I mean, we used to. That's our culture, of course, in our Indian civilization. The guru is the teacher, is a father, right? The guru is the mother, guru is the father. That kind of culture that we have. So the professor should get that sense of responsibility that these are students who are entrusted to their care, and then that they should not have any malice towards any of the students. That's the way professors should be. So yeah, I hope that Oxford will come out and say something, take action on that professor, say comforting words to Rashmi, and I hope also that the political leaders also should be calling Rashmi to comfort her, from in the Indian government. So far, I don't think anybody has done that. So it'll be very nice if people call her, comfort her, and tell her everything will be all right. Right now, she's just being drowned by all that hate. No, it has not stopped.
What is our Indian foreign service diplomats are doing?
Well, I mean,
Where are
the
they?
only I don't know. They usually, we have seen it, right? They take their time to study the situation and all that. But now it's been quite some time, and of course, it has been discussed
No,
in
no,
Parliament.
it's
But
not about Rashmi Samant. It has been going on for so long. This
yes,
entire is racism and Hindu phobia has been going on for a long year now. What are they
yes.
doing? Where are they? They should also be
So,
questioned.
yes, I would really like to request them if they're watching this program, please, please do something here. It's not just Rashmi Samant. We don't want any more children to be hounded like Rashmi Samant in any of the universities in US or America, Europe, anywhere, because it's our civilization is so inclusive, Sanatan Dharma, and if that is being ridiculed like this, it's just shameful. So I hope all the concerned parties, first of all, Oxford has to be held accountable the most because they have let this happen, and they have to find out, and those students have to be punished. The ones who went out after her on flimsy
Yeah.
pretexts and made her, and
Because they are the one who were
lynched
actually
her.
making racist comments, right? Very wild. She
Yes,
told me as
yes,
well what kind of comments they were making.
yes, yes.
So, but
Yeah.
my last question to you would be, we are seeing this thing, especially in the Western universities, this kind of very toxic woke culture, this kind
Hmm,
of ultra left activism.
hmm.
What impact is it having on the learning atmosphere in those universities, and what can be done about it? Because you were,
No, no,
as a mother, what do you think, in the sense that you're not there in those campuses now because times have passed since the last time you would have been in the campus, but as a
yes.
mother, as the parent, what do you think should be the way forward to get the things right from, and let's say step down from this level of toxic activism?
No, see, I feel that the campuses should stop being battlefields. They should, this distorted perspective of the world which is being propagated, that needs to be stopped. There has to be more emphasis on how we are all a global family. We all have similar problems all over the world. We have to tackle water issues. We have to tackle this climate change. We have infrastructure issues. Those are the things. And instead of that, this whole kind of the distorted perspective that is being taught, the conflicts, it's everything is being viewed through conflict, right? That needs to change. So a more civilized discourse. What I would like to see is a more civilized discourse where people are actually able to debate properly, put their points across, and still be friends. I mean, you can be totally disagreeing, but you can be totally friends, because later on, that's how it is in the world. You will meet people of different viewpoints. You will be probably arguing with them, and then you'll still be going out for a meal with them, right? That is the kind of culture that needs to, which is supposed to be there, but that needs to be brought. So as a mother, that's what I want. I want my all these children to have lots of friends. They all understand the civilization, each other's histories and civilizations, to be able to speak, to be able to criticize, and still not be labeled, judged, and harassed. So that is what I would want as a mother.
Sure. So thank you, Sahana ji, for talking to us. And we hope that Rashmi will be back to Oxford very soon. She's a strong girl. I have talked to her. I've done a podcast with her, and she's very smart. She's a very deserving candidate, and I think she'll be back to her studies as soon as possible. And thank you, Sahana ji, for taking care of her in whatever way you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was nice talking to you. Namaste.
And thank you, audience, for listening to us. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And hoping to see you soon again.